In a galaxy filled with vibrant planets and diverse life forms, humans and aliens had lived together in peace for 3,000 years. They had built strong friendships and shared knowledge, creating a world where everyone felt safe. The Galactic Council, a group of representatives from different species, guided this peace, ensuring harmony across the galaxy. Among them was Counselor Thara, a wise and respected leader from the planet Xantor. One bright morning, the Galactic Council held a crucial meeting in their grand hall. This hall was large, with shining walls and a ceiling that sparkled like the night sky. Counselor Thara stood at the center, addressing the crowd of eager delegates from many worlds. Suddenly, a messenger rushed in, his face pale with fear. "Emergency!" he shouted, breathless. "The planet Xylos has been attacked!" Gasps echoed through the hall. Xylos was known for its beautiful landscapes and peaceful people. The council members exchanged worried glances. Who would attack Xylos? Counselor Thara wondered aloud. The messenger continued, "It appears humans are responsible. They have launched a surprise attack on Xylos." Panic spread like wildfire. Counselor Thara felt her heart race. This can't be true. Humans have been our friends for centuries. But her voice was drowned out by the rising tide of anger and fear among the council members. They had always believed in the goodness of humans. But this incident shook their trust. The council members argued fiercely. Some wanted to investigate, while others called for immediate action. The fear of humans grew, and soon the council voted to declare war. "We cannot let this act of aggression go unpunished," shouted a representative from the planet Vortex. The motion passed with a heavy hand, sealing the fate of their long-standing peace. As the meeting ended, Counselor Thara felt a deep sadness. This is a grave mistake, she thought. But her voice had been lost in the chaos. She knew that the humans would not stand by quietly. They had always fought fiercely for their beliefs. Meanwhile, on Earth, news of the declaration spread like lightning. People watched in disbelief as reports flooded in. The president called an emergency meeting, gathering the top leaders, scientists, and military officials. Tension filled the air as they discussed the situation. "Why would the Galactic Council accuse us?" asked a general, his voice filled with confusion. "We've always been their allies." The president nodded, his brow furrowed with concern. "We need to find out the truth. We can't just accept this accusation without proof." As the leaders debated their options, many citizens felt fear and anger rising within them. Some believed they should prepare for war, while others insisted on seeking a peaceful resolution. "We must reach out to them," pleaded a young diplomat, her eyes shining with determination. "Let's send a message explaining that we didn't attack Xylos." But the president hesitated. What if they don't believe us? What if they come for us next? The fear of conflict hung heavily over the room. In the days that followed, both humans and aliens prepared for war. The Galactic Council gathered their forces, confident that they would quickly defeat the humans. They saw them as weak, unprepared, and naive. But the humans were far from weak. They were resilient and clever. Their spirit burned brightly, fueled by a deep desire to defend their home. As humans mobilized their military forces, scientists worked tirelessly to develop new technologies and strategies. The citizens united, displaying banners of hope and determination. "We are humans and we will not back down," they declared. Across the galaxy, the tension mounted. Spaceships from different planets began to gather, ready to face the humans. But little did they know that humans were not the easy target they believed them to be. The spirit of humanity was rising, and they were ready to fight for their existence. In the shadows, Counselor Thara watched with a heavy heart. She knew the truth, that the real enemy was not the humans, but the fear that had clouded judgment. She resolved to find a way to speak to the humans before it was too late. Time was running out and war was on the horizon. The stage was set for an epic clash that would test the bonds of friendship and the strength of both humans and aliens. Would they be able to overcome the misunderstandings and hatred that threatened to tear them apart? Only time would tell, as the galaxy stood on the brink of an unexpected war. As the news of the Galactic Council's declaration of war spread across Earth, confusion and fear gripped the hearts of its people. In cities, towns, and villages, people gathered to discuss what had just happened. In homes, families huddled around their screens, watching the same reports that accused humans of a heinous act. The sense of betrayal was deep, and many struggled to comprehend why their once peaceful galaxy was suddenly filled with turmoil. In the heart of Washington, D.C. President Maria Sanchez convened an emergency meeting with her top advisors. "We need to act quickly," she said, her voice steady but filled with urgency. "Our reputation is at stake. We must show the council that we did not attack Xylos." The room buzzed with suggestions and ideas. A military general suggested preparing for battle, stating, "We need to defend ourselves. If they think we are weak, they will strike first." However, a young diplomat named Lila argued passionately, "Fighting back will only escalate the situation. We should reach out and communicate with the council. We must prove our innocence." The president nodded, recognizing the importance of Lila's perspective. "You're right. We cannot assume they will listen, but we must try." She tasked Lila with crafting a message to the Galactic Council, urging them to reconsider their stance and seek the truth before any violence ensued. As Lila worked tirelessly on the message, word spread throughout the country. Protests erupted, with signs reading, "We are not monsters," and "Peace over war." The people wanted to make it clear that they did not support any act of aggression. Many gathered in public squares, chanting for peace and unity. Citizens from all walks of life came together, their voices echoing the desire for understanding. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Galactic Council prepared for war. Counselor Thara felt a heavy weight on her shoulders. She had seen the goodness in humans and believed that this misunderstanding could be resolved. After the council meeting, she spent sleepless nights thinking about how to reach the humans. She feared that war would only bring more pain and suffering to both sides. Back on Earth, Lila finally finished the message, addressing it directly to the Galactic Council. "We ask you to listen to our words," it began. "We did not attack Xylos. We are your friends, not your enemies. We seek peace and understanding." Lila's heart raced as she sent the message into the cosmos, hoping it would reach the council before the first shots were fired. Days passed and tension continued to rise. Humans prepared their defenses with military bases bustling with activity. But in the midst of preparation, Lila received unexpected news. A group of scientists had detected an alien signal approaching Earth. The message contained a plea for communication from Counselor Thara. With excitement and hope, Lila rushed to inform the president. "They want to talk! Counselor Thara is reaching out!" President Sanchez wasted no time, arranging a meeting between Lila and a representative from the council. The day of the meeting arrived. Lila sat nervously in front of a screen, her heart pounding. When the screen flickered to life, Counselor Thara's image appeared. The counselor looked grave but determined. "Thank you for responding," she said. "I believe there has been a terrible misunderstanding. I need to explain everything." As Thara spoke, Lila listened intently. The counselor detailed the attack on Xylos, explaining that they had been misled into believing humans were responsible. Thara shared her doubts about the council's decision and her desire to find a peaceful solution. With newfound hope, Lila responded, "We are ready to help. We must work together to find out who truly attacked Xylos. We want to protect our peace and friendship." The two agreed to collaborate, knowing that they were stronger together. Meanwhile, on Earth, news of the communication spread like wildfire. People felt a renewed sense of unity. As Lila and Thara worked to unravel the mystery, humans all over Earth began to come together, forming groups and organizations dedicated to fostering peace. The citizens, once divided by fear and anger, now united under a common cause to protect their home and prove their innocence. They organized rallies, inviting speakers to share stories of friendship with other species, hoping to bridge the gap between worlds. Through their determination, humans began to find strength in unity. They realized that by standing together, they could face any challenge. The message was clear. They were not just defending themselves, they were fighting for their future, a future of peace and understanding. With the goal of uncovering the truth in mind, Lila and Thara prepared to gather evidence against the rogue faction, knowing that the path ahead would be filled with challenges. But their hope shone brightly, lighting the way for a new chapter in their shared story. The tension in the galaxy reached a boiling point. As humans and aliens prepared for war, both sides felt the weight of fear and uncertainty. Counselor Thara and Lila worked tirelessly to find evidence of the true attackers who had struck Xylos, but time was running out. The Galactic Council was not willing to wait for answers. They were ready to strike. On Earth, President Maria Sanchez received word that a fleet of alien ships was approaching their planet. "We have to prepare for an attack," she announced to her team. The military was put on high alert, and defense systems were activated. Soldiers trained hard, their spirits lifted by the unity of their people. As night fell, the skies lit up with the engines of spaceships moving through the darkness. Humans gathered on rooftops and in open fields, watching in awe as alien ships hovered ominously above their cities. They prayed for peace, but prepared for battle, their hearts heavy with the possibility of war. In the Galactic Council chamber, Counselor Thara felt torn. She had tried to warn her fellow counselors about the danger of attacking without knowing the truth. "We should wait," she urged. "We don't know who the real enemy is." But her pleas fell on deaf ears. The counselors were filled with rage and fear, convinced that humans were to blame. As the alien fleet moved closer to Earth, Commander Rylan, the leader of the Galactic Council's forces, gave the order to engage. "We will show them the strength of the Council," he declared, his voice echoing through the ship. The crew cheered, fueled by their desire for revenge. They believed they were protecting their worlds from a ruthless enemy. Meanwhile, on Earth, the military received confirmation that the alien ships were preparing to attack. "This is it!" shouted General Johnson, pacing in front of the gathered troops. "We need to defend our home. Remember, we are fighting for our families, our friends, and our future." The command center buzzed with activity as officers scrambled to prepare their weapons. Pilots took to their fighter jets, ready to defend the skies. The humans knew they were outnumbered, but their determination burned bright. "We will fight for our planet!" they shouted, rallying together. Just as the alien fleet began their assault, Lila managed to send another urgent message to the Galactic Council, pleading for them to stop. "You don't understand. We are not your enemies," she cried, but the message was lost in the chaos. The battle had begun. Lasers and missiles lit up the sky as the first shots rang out. The humans fought back with everything they had, using their advanced technology and strategies to defend against the oncoming alien ships. Pilots maneuvered their jets with skill, weaving through blasts of energy. The clash of ships echoed through the air, creating a symphony of destruction. In the heart of the battle, Commander Rylan felt a surge of power. "Charge forward!" he yelled, his ship leading the charge. But amidst the chaos, he began to notice something strange. The humans were fighting fiercely, but they weren't attacking with the same ruthlessness he expected. They were defending, not trying to destroy. As the battle raged on, Counselor Thara watched in horror from the council ship. She could see the humans fighting bravely, trying to protect their homes. "Stop the attack!" she cried, her voice filled with desperation. "We are making a grave mistake!" Just then, a bright light flashed across the sky. Lila, piloting her own small ship, flew directly into the fray, determined to reach the alien commander. "You have to listen!" she shouted into her communicator, hoping her voice would carry through the chaos. "We didn't attack Xylos! We can prove our innocence!" But her plea was drowned out by the sounds of battle. Missiles exploded around her, and her ship shook under the pressure. She fought to maintain control, dodging blasts while searching for any sign of Commander Rylan. Suddenly, Lila's ship was hit. Alarms blared, and she felt her heart race. She quickly activated her emergency systems, preparing for a crash landing. But before she could react, a beam of energy struck her ship, sending her spiraling downward. As Lila fought to regain control, a group of human pilots spotted her plight. "We can't leave her!" one pilot yelled. Together, they launched a daring rescue, flying through the chaos to reach her. In the midst of the chaos, Thara finally broke through the council's stubbornness. "We must call for a ceasefire," she insisted, her voice rising above the din. "If we don't, we will lose everything." As Lila's ship descended, she caught a glimpse of the alien fleet. The battle was chaotic, but hope flickered in her heart. "We can end this," she thought. The unity of humans shone brightly in the face of danger, ready to fight for peace, not destruction. The battle raged on, but amidst the fire and fear, both sides were beginning to realize that this war might not be what they truly wanted. As the first battle unfolded, the path to understanding and peace lay ahead, waiting to be discovered. As the smoke cleared from the battlefield, both humans and aliens paused. The first battle had shown them the harsh reality of war, and in its wake there was a growing realization that they needed to find a way to understand one another. The cries of wounded soldiers echoed in the air, and the debris of broken ships littered the ground. On Earth, President Maria Sanchez watched the news reports in disbelief. "We are not monsters," she murmured, tears brimming in her eyes. She knew the importance of reaching out to the Galactic Council again. "We need to find a way to communicate with them, to build a bridge instead of a wall." Meanwhile, Counselor Thara stood among her fellow counselors in their chamber, feeling the weight of the conflict pressing down on her. "This cannot continue," she insisted. "We must seek out the humans and find a way to end this. We need allies, not enemies." The counselors looked uneasy, their faces pale from the aftermath of the battle. The images of destruction weighed heavily on their minds. Finally, one counselor spoke up. "You're right, Thara. We have acted too hastily. We must send a delegation to Earth." Back on Earth, Lila was recovering in a medical facility after her narrow escape from the battle. She had narrowly avoided disaster thanks to her fellow pilots. As she rested, she couldn't stop thinking about how to turn this conflict into something positive. "We need to make them see us for who we really are," she told a nurse. "We must show them that we can be allies." A few days later, President Sanchez announced a historic initiative. "We will extend a hand of friendship to the Galactic Council," she declared. "We want to work together for peace." The citizens of Earth reacted with mixed emotions. Some were hopeful, while others were still filled with fear and anger. But slowly, a movement began to grow, a desire for understanding. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council prepared for their journey to Earth. Counselor Thara led the delegation, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and anxiety. She was determined to bridge the gap between their worlds. The counselors knew that they had to take this opportunity to find common ground. When the alien ships arrived at Earth, Lila stood at the front lines ready to greet them. She had organized a welcome ceremony, hoping to ease the tension between the two species. As the aliens descended from their ships, humans lined the streets, holding signs that read, "Welcome, friends, and together for peace." Counselor Thara stepped forward, her blue skin glimmering under the sunlight. "We come in peace," she declared, her voice steady. Lila stepped forward, her heart pounding. "We are ready to work together," she replied. "Let's find out who really attacked Xylos." The two groups began to interact cautiously at first. Humans and aliens exchanged stories and experiences, learning about each other's cultures. Lila was fascinated by the counselors' tales of distant planets and unique traditions. In turn, Thara listened to the stories of human resilience and creativity, impressed by their determination to forge a peaceful future. During the discussions, they decided to form a joint task force, consisting of both humans and aliens, dedicated to uncovering the truth behind the attack on Xylos. They called themselves the Unity Coalition. Each member brought their own skills to the table, creating a diverse and powerful team. As they worked together, the coalition faced challenges. They had to navigate the complexities of their languages and cultures. Some humans were still wary of their alien counterparts, while some aliens held on to their preconceived notions about humans. But through patience and understanding, they began to break down the barriers. Leela and Thara found themselves bonding over their shared passion for peace. They spent late nights brainstorming ideas, exchanging strategies, and forming a deep friendship. "We must show both our people that we are stronger together," Thara said one evening, her eyes sparkling with determination. Meanwhile, news of the Unity Coalition spread across the galaxy. Many began to hope that this partnership could lead to a resolution of the conflict. But not everyone was pleased. There were factions within both the human and alien ranks that thrived on chaos and distrust. They whispered behind closed doors, planning to sabotage the coalition's efforts. But Lila and Thara refused to be deterred. They continued their work, focusing on finding the truth. As they pieced together the evidence, they began to discover clues pointing to a shadowy group that had manipulated both sides into conflict. As the days turned into weeks, the coalition became a symbol of hope. Humans and aliens stood side by side, united in their quest for peace. They trained together, learned from one another, and shared their dreams of a brighter future. Through their efforts, they began to heal the wounds caused by the battle, planting the seeds of friendship that could grow into something beautiful. The first steps toward lasting peace had been taken, but the road ahead would be challenging. They knew they had to confront the true enemy lurking in the shadows, ready to tear apart the fragile alliance they had built. As Lila and Thera prepared for their next move, they held on to the belief that together they could overcome any obstacle. The journey had just begun, but their hearts were filled with hope. The sun rose over Earth, casting a golden light on the horizon. The Unity Coalition had been working tirelessly for weeks, and the air buzzed with excitement. Lila and Thara stood together on the steps of the newly established Peace Center, ready to present their findings to the world. People from both Earth and the Galactic Council gathered, their faces filled with hope. "Today marks a new beginning for all of us," Lila said, her heart racing as she addressed the crowd. "We have uncovered the truth behind the attack on Xylos, and together we will ensure that such misunderstandings never happen again." Cheers erupted from the audience, their spirits lifted by her words. Counselor Thera stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "We are here to unite our two worlds. Our journey has taught us that we are more alike than we are different. Together we can build a future filled with peace and friendship." The crowd roared with applause, the sound echoing across the plaza. Lila felt a surge of hope as she looked out at the sea of diverse faces, humans and aliens, all united in a common purpose. She could see the determination in their eyes, and she knew that together they could achieve great things. As the applause faded, Thara began to share the details of their investigation. "We discovered evidence that points to a rogue faction responsible for the attack on Xylos. This group thrives on chaos and seeks to sow discord between our species. They do not represent the values of the Galactic Council or the people of Earth." The crowd listened intently, the tension in the air beginning to lift. After Thara spoke, Lila took the stage again. "We have formed a joint task force to combat this threat. We will work together to ensure that our worlds remain safe from those who wish to harm us." She felt the warmth of hope spread through the crowd, their collective spirit growing stronger. As the meeting continued, Lila and Thara announced plans for a summit between the leaders of Earth and the Galactic Council. "We want to establish a new treaty," Lila explained. "A treaty that will outline our commitment to cooperation, communication, and mutual respect." The crowd erupted in cheers once more, the energy palpable. In the following weeks, the coalition worked diligently to prepare for the summit. Lila and Thara held countless meetings, drafting proposals and discussing strategies. They traveled across Earth and the Galactic Council, promoting the idea of unity and cooperation. Everywhere they went, they met with enthusiasm and support. But the rogue faction was not idle. They watched the coalition's progress with growing anger and fear. Their plans for division were slipping away, and they knew they had to act. As the summit date approached, whispers of sabotage filled the air. On the day of the summit, leaders from both sides gathered in a grand hall adorned with flags from Earth and the Galactic Council. Lila and Thara stood side by side, their determination shining bright. As the leaders began to speak, the atmosphere was charged with excitement and anticipation. However, as the discussions unfolded, a loud explosion shook the hall. Panic erupted as the lights flickered and smoke filled the air. Lila grabbed Thara's hand, her heart racing. "We have to get everyone out," she shouted. Together they led the crowd towards the exits, their minds racing. In the chaos, they spotted a group of rogue aliens trying to ignite more explosives. Without thinking, Lila and Thara sprang into action. "We can't let them destroy this moment," Thara yelled, and Lila nodded, her resolve hardening. The two charged toward the attackers, their hearts pounding. They fought bravely, using their skills and training to protect the summit. The alliance of humans and aliens quickly joined them, and together they formed a united front against the rogue faction. As the battle raged on, Lila felt a deep sense of purpose. This was not just a fight for their lives, but a fight for the future of their worlds. They pushed back against the attackers, refusing to let fear win. The unity they had built shone brightly, illuminating the darkness of conflict. Finally, after a fierce struggle, the rogue faction was subdued. The dust began to settle, and the leaders emerged from the chaos, shaken but alive. They looked at one another, their expressions filled with understanding. "We must not let these divisions tear us apart," one leader said, their voice steady. "Today, we fight for a brighter future together." With that, the leaders signed the new treaty, solidifying their commitment to peace and cooperation. The crowd erupted in cheers, celebrating their victory over fear and hatred. Lila and Thara embraced, their hearts full of hope. As the sun set on that historic day, both worlds felt the warmth of a new dawn. They knew challenges lay ahead, but together they were stronger. The promise of a bright future shimmered on the horizon, and they were ready to face it hand in hand. In the end, it was not just the alliance of two worlds that had been forged. It was the bond of friendship and trust that would light the way for generations to come. They had taken the first steps toward a future filled with understanding and cooperation, proving that even in the darkest moments, hope could prevail.